What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Love and Rice podcast with your host, Aunt Ma.
I'm your other host, Christina.
Make sure you guys follow us on all the podcast platforms. Love and Rice. We are on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Google, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and also TikTok and Instagram. And don't forget to give us some, if you guys have been listening to this for a while now, I'm sure you guys can give us some feedback. So if you can give us a rating on Spotify, it would be very much appreciated. So on today's episode, we're going to be talking about something that's very common in a relationship, okay? Something that a lot of people, they think about in the beginning of the relationship, but also they don't think about too much. They just go ahead and do it. And what I'm talking about is moving in with your partner.
Ooh.
Because when you're in a new relationship, you want to be with that person every day.
Pretty much,
right?
yeah.
You all day, all night. You want to have sex 10 times a day, and you just want to be with them, right? And so, what I want to ask today is, I want to see when is the right time to move in together, and when it's you're forcing it, because I feel like it's been with every relationship that I've been in, right? And this just might be like an ABG thing or an
Oh my God.
Asian
It
American
doesn't
thing.
have to be. Okay.
Right? But
Might be a boy and girl thing.
I feel like it's a girl thing.
Okay. Yeah.
So like, I feel like the girls always rush into it too much,
Yeah.
And so I want to hear the girl's
True that.
perspective. I want to tell you guys the guy's perspective for today. As a girl, how long are you with the guy before you move in with them?
That is a very good question. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like girls usually just jump into it.
That's
in the
what I'm
beginning.
saying, dude.
Yeah, but it's because like girls just like the company. They like cuddling. They like feeling safe in someone's arms at night, And I think for me, like the one thing that I liked about staying over at someone's house was the comfort of being in their arms and being so relaxed and just falling asleep so easily. Because when I'm at home and I'm trying to put myself to sleep, like I have insomnia, right? Like I'm just laying there, I'm so bored, I'm like trying to find things to do and I'm trying to like get myself to fall asleep. But just like having that feeling of being able to like go to sleep so easily, like that was one of my biggest things for me.
Why don't you just take some sleeping pills and go sleep at home?
Because I didn't want to rely on sleeping pills.
But then you're going to rely on a guy to go to
True,
sleep.
that does kind of happen.
Is that fair to the guy? Like, that's what I'm asking you. Like, how long into the relationship before you start doing that?
You mean how long do you usually, or how long should you wait before you start doing that?
You.
I just go with the flow. It does depends on the person, depends on their living situation.
Okay, give me the shortest amount of time you've been with someone and you moved in with them, and then the longest you've been with someone and you moved in with them.
I have no idea. I really don't know. I feel like with us it was pretty fast, right?
It was,
but it's like on and off in the beginning. It's like staying over a few times a week or something, and then eventually it just kind of like becomes like an everyday thing.
Okay, so it sounds like it happens pretty fast, like within a few months.
Yeah.
Right? And this is where I'm like, the guys are a little bit different, right? Now, the girls, they stay over. We want them to stay over, right? And it's cool for a couple of days. But it doesn't mean the guy wants you to stay forever, because we got shit to do.
Yeah, I don't think the girls are thinking about staying forever, though. For me personally, just my experience, because remember how I said I was so like stuck at home all the time. I couldn't get out of the house. So when I was ready to, I was like, oh my gosh, I can stay at someone else's house. I'm going to do that because I don't want to stay at home.
Okay, so when that happened to us,
yeah,
I started noticing. I'm like, oh, she's staying longer and longer.
Yeah.
She's not leaving, right? And so now I got to tell you, hey, we're not living together. Can you go stay at somewhere else?
Yeah.
Because now I can't concentrate on what I got to do.
I'm just a big distraction. I
Right.
mean, I can't help it.
So how come the girls, and it's not just you,
Yeah,
it's literally
in general.
every girl that I've been with, right? How come the girls never ask if we should move in together or if they can stay there? They just do it. All of a sudden things start coming in, more clothes start staying, beauty products start staying,
I don't even think I brought clothes over and like got it situated at your place or anything when we first started going out. And then even with like makeup too, like I would just keep it in my bag, or I barely wore any makeup in the beginning. There's a secret that girls do when they first start dating a guy, is that they want you to see them like when they wake up and like kind of like have like that natural beauty and stuff. But then like sometimes I would just like go and like touch up my face and my makeup and stuff, and then by the time you wake up it looks like, oh, this is how I woke
What?
up. Yeah, so
For
I would just have
reals?
makeup in my purse. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, just a
No,
little
wait,
touch
all
up. It
girls-
wasn't a lot.
You're saying all girls do that?
I think in the beginning, I don't know if all girls do that because some girls don't wear makeup at all.
This is new to me right now.
Yeah, but because I wore makeup, and then like I don't want to. I wasn't ready yet for you to see me without like makeup on my face. if that
I don't
makes
really
sense.
like it when girls wear so much makeup.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't in the beginning. I still kind of don't. You know.
I think most of the girls that I've dated didn't have too much makeup.
Well, they also don't film all the time too, where they have to get ready and put on makeup.
We didn't film in that time of our relationship.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I barely put on any makeup in the beginning.
Oh, I see.
Duh, guys.
So
So I don't think I really did that where I brought a bunch of clothes to like put in your closet or anything like that. I don't recall doing that at all, or bringing makeup and leaving it in your bathroom.
I just remember girls saying like, I'm gonna leave this here,
Oh.
and that's where the guy should be like, hold up,
Yeah.
wait, why are you leaving it here?
See, it's up to the guy.
Yeah, but we're not thinking you're leaving it there because you're gonna keep staying. We're just like, oh, okay, she's just gonna leave it here for like till I don't know. It's overlooked.
Yeah, so I think like for a girl, right? If the guy is not saying anything and the girl's living in that moment, I think she's also like, okay, well, I think he's living in the moment too. I think he's enjoying it and he wants me to stay over because he hasn't said anything.
That's so sneaky.
That's not
Because-
sneaky. It's called communication, bro.
But there is no communication. You just said one person feels comfortable, another one feels comfortable, and
Yeah.
it just starts happening. That is not communication.
So, but if the guy has a problem about it, they're the ones that should speak up, because girls are mind readers. You have to be like, hey, I think we're moving too fast. And I have so many things I need to do. Maybe like you should stay at your place this many days out of the week or something so that I can get stuff done.
So this is something for all the young cats out there, all right?
No,
when-
not just young. I think.
Hold on. Let me
Okay,
explain. Let me
okay.
explain. Okay.
All right.
When you are a young male and you're in these new relationships and you're with like the hottest girls, right? The last thing you're thinking about is like bringing up confrontation with the girl or making her feel like she's not wanted, right? Because we do want the girl.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're like, cool. Like when you're young, you just kind of deal with everything that's happening. And when you talk to your friends, they're like, yeah, like this is normal. This is what girls do,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you get frustrated about it, but you don't speak up on it, right? Now, the older cats, the ones who have experienced this and things like that, they know better. They're like, hold up. I like you a lot. I want to see you every day, but you cannot stay here. We are not there yet. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So there's a big difference between dating when you're young and dating when you're older. It's like I don't know. Most people don't say it when they're young.
Yeah, it's because you don't know. It's the lack of experience and like you're so shy and everything's so new.
Yeah, because you just don't know what's going on. And all of a
Yeah.
sudden it's like 1 month later, 3 months later, 6 months later, and you're like, oh, fuck. Now I can't even tell her because it's been so long. Like it gets to that point where it's just been too long and there's nothing I can say anymore. And I just got to deal with it. But now I'm like in my head bitching about it all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you do move in with guys, right? How comfortable was it for you? Like, where were the guys living? Was it their own place? Were they living with their moms?
For the most part, everyone was living with their moms
And you were comfortable with that?
or with their parents. Yeah.
And I agree, because every girl, when I was living at home or I was living, well, you know what's funny is that for the most part, when I was living by myself, the girls didn't stay over. And then those years when I would move back home, they would stay over. And I'm like, what?
I'm wondering, is it because when you're living on your own, you were just out all the time and you weren't bringing girls home?
Maybe I was working more.
Maybe. Oh, see, probably.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you're more comfortable and your life was more chill that you were able to like bring girls back home.
When I was at my parents.
Yeah. Like when you didn't have to worry about paying rent and stuff like
yeah,
that.
but I didn't want Like then your parents are like, wait, why is this person here all the time?
Yeah.
And they don't say anything, and they're like, in their head, they're probably like, well, whatever makes my son happy.
Yeah. I
Right.
mean, the first time that I came back to your house, you introduced me to your mom. And it was like
Well,
after I got off of work at the bar, and I was like, whoa, it's so late and I'm in my work clothes and I'm going to meet your mom right now. Like, this is crazy.
well,
So
you're staying at her house.
I know, but
we have to.
But that also kind of like makes it seem like that's how serious the relationship is too. You're
No.
throwing me off by doing that because I'm like, oh, it's so important for him to want to introduce me so late
Nope,
at night.
it's not that. It's literally telling my mom, I'm not bringing a hooker home. This is just a girl that I'm dating, and here she is.
Common
And
courtesy.
Yes.
Got it.
A stranger is now staying at your house.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And some guys don't do that. It's just kind of like not even like going to introduce, or it's like the next morning or something like that, and you're like, okay.
So why are girls comfortable staying at a guy's house when they're living with their parents?
I think because I was younger at that time also, and because I was still living with my parents too. So at the same time, like I wasn't.
Oh, you know what? You're right. Okay, you're right. That's everyone's norm at that time. When you're in your college years, everyone's living with their parents. So it just,
Right.
I get it, but it's like no one thinks about the parents.
Yeah, and I think it depends on the person too, because I was such a family oriented person that I'm used to being around parents and being around family and stuff like that, and it wasn't weird to me. Like I was comfortable.
I see.
Yeah, and I'm not the type of person.
I think it's weird. When I'm the guy and I'm like, and then the girl's around and I'm like, I look at my parents and I'm like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think for the girl, we're just trying to also like get closer to the parents also, and try to make them feel comfortable and let them know that like their son is dating a nice girl, you know?
I get it. The girl's trying to build the relationship and, move forward. But honestly, if I had to like think back through all my relationships, I wish I never went through those experiences. I wish it was like the normal American way where it was just, we have our own places that we stay and we move in together when we're ready to find a place together, whether it's renting or,
Yeah, I kind of do agree with that.
right?
Yeah.
Like, that was what people did back in the days.
Yeah, I feel like with society now, a lot of people jump into relationships very quickly, or even if it's not so much of a serious relationship, they just kind of like try to live together and move in so quickly together. And I feel like that's why a lot of relationships now, they kind of fail in the long run, because people aren't thinking about it. They're just jumping into things so soon, and it's like you kind of get tired of each other so quickly, or you get annoyed and you don't even give yourselves that opportunity to like grow in a
Right.
sense. Yeah.
Yourself, like if you have the time to grow yourself, it can benefit the relationship a lot more than if you were just stuck in the relationship trying to grow that and not do your own thing.
Yeah.
So okay, here's a question. Now, why do girls not want to offer money or rents while they stay with the guys?
I don't know. I feel like if it's something that's brought up, I don't think girls would have an issue with it. I don't think that's ever been something that was brought up to me ever.
So when there's a time when, okay, I was living in my own places for about 4 or 5 years. Okay. And I'll be living with my friends. And then all of a sudden it's like, we got to move to the next place.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we have the discussion with the girl, our partner, and be like, okay, we got to find another place. If you want to live together, we have to split the rent.
Right.
Right. Because you have like boyfriend, girlfriend in one room, boyfriend, girlfriend in room 2, boyfriend, girlfriend in room 3. And everyone's kind of splitting. Right. So I did have a conversation with, past girlfriends about those situations. But at some point, the girl just stops paying.
Oh.
They think the guy can just take care of everything.
I mean, I think it would be fair to say that you should split the rent.
I think so.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something, guys. Young guys out there, okay? I know that you can take care of the girl. I know that we can pay the rent. But what you don't know is that the 10-year later you is going to be hurting financially by that because you're not saving. You got to remember, okay? You are paying the girl's rent. You're buying her food. You're buying her experiences. You're buying her flowers and things for her. Where are you saving money? you got to have the girl split the rent with you. Okay. Because if they can split the rent with you, then now you can splurge on the experiences with the girl and buy her things. But trying to do all of that at the same time, you're hurting yourself because in 10 years, you're going to have no money to even buy a home for yourself or buy a business for yourself or do something where you can grow financially, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's something that just should be discussed like in the beginning of the relationship and setting expectations. So like even say if the girl wasn't even paying rent, then maybe you split cost by like something else. So it's like, okay, I'll take care of the rent. Maybe you can take care of the food when we go out, or maybe you can take care of like buying groceries and stuff like that, you know?
I feel like the way the Asian American culture dates, we don't ever talk about that. It's just like we just go out to dinner and we just have fun, or we go out and drink and have fun, right?
Yeah, we don't really like talking
Like-
about money. It makes me uncomfortable talking about
Right.
money.
But then when you're dating, other cultures, and now you're more like, I guess you're more, I don't know how to say it. Like the relationship is more independent. Then when you have dinner, you bring up more of these talks, to understand each other. But in the Asian culture, it's like, you don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think anytime there's any kind of topics that come up where there's like tension or anything like that, like we were just brought up to not talk about it or anything with confrontation.
I think we're just uneducated that young when we're dating. You know what I mean? Like our parents don't teach us this stuff, which they should, right? They should ask us like, hey, have you talked about this? And like every step, right? And I think that's what we should do with our kids, because if not, they're just going to assume everything's okay as the relationship goes on, And like, how would you feel if Leia or Enzo, they're 21 years old living with us, and all of a sudden their partner starts staying over? And then, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, they don't leave. How would you feel?
I'm trying to think about how my upbringing was and how unfair it was in terms of like my brothers wanting to bring girls back. I mean, they really kind of didn't, but when they had serious relationships, they were able to have them like stay over, but I was never allowed to have anyone stay over. So I feel like we would have to set boundaries. I don't know if I would want someone staying over here, but then also if we don't do that, they're going to move out of the house sooner too.
Exactly. So I think this is why most parents are okay with this, right? Because they're like, if their partner is not staying with us, what are they going to be doing outside of our house?
Right.
Now we can control it in our house. Yes, they're going to be doing things and whatnot, but it's like, it will be a lot crazier when they're by themselves outside of the house.
True. But then it's also challenging because how do you make it fair in a sense with, Enzo bringing girls over and Leia bringing a boy over, The scarier part is when you have a daughter and the one thing that you always think about is them getting pregnant, right? You don't want that to happen.
You got to have the talks. You got to tell them, hey, you got to wear condoms.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Like, it's not just about being pregnant. You got to think about how many diseases you can catch. Like, that's the serious part of the talk. It's not like, it's just protecting them. Do you know how many, young people don't use condoms, and in their group of friends, someone gets a STD? And when you have your group of friends that you all love and hang out with every day, you guys are sharing drinks. You're sharing shot cups. You know what I mean? You're sharing food. Like, that is disgusting. Your friends are not using condoms, and they're not going to tell you if they caught something.
Yeah, and that's why they tell parents to not share food or drinks with their kids too, because if you have like herpes or cold sores and stuff like that, like once you pass it to the kids, they'll have it for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. So, man, that's another discussion and thought later when we got to think about the kids and their partners. I don't even want to really think about that yet.
Yeah, I think as they get older, we'll kind of see how they are, and then we'll be able to like adjust the living situation.
It's kind of like, it's not grooming them, but it's teaching them as they get older, like little things here and there about life.
Yeah, I'm
that
curious.
has to stick with them.
I'm curious to know how other cultures raise their children when it comes to like stuff like this, because I feel like it should I don't know. I feel like we almost should just do it the old-fashioned way and not let people stay over.
When I have like American friends and I see the American moms,
Mm-hmm.
they're okay with a lot of things, but they have the talks every time there's an opportunity. They bring it up because
In front of you? Like they'll have the talk when you're there? Or your friend tells you about it?
Yeah, no, they'll bring it up, right? It's like it's like becomes a meeting.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, okay, you guys cannot do this,
Oh.
you guys cannot do that. No hanky panky in our house.
Yeah.
Right, stuff like that. But you can stay over. These days you cannot. So like they will do it right on the spot.
Okay,
you
so
know?
setting boundaries from the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't, and I think that's a great way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now I guess, when do you think is the proper time, after all this experience that we've been through, looking back at it, how would you do it differently?
I think I would have probably not jumped into things so quickly whenever I would meet a guy and stuff, and I would probably just stay home more. Or I mean, even trying to find a place on my own. But I think it's just more of like just being home and be more independent and not trying to like jump into things too quickly.
I feel like from what I've learned is never let the girls stay over and move in with you until you guys can get a place together. That's my advice.
Yeah.
But at the same time, now this might save you a headache and financial burden. What happens if you guys date for a year and you decide, I want to live with you. Let's go rent an apartment together.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you sign your 1-year lease. Now you're living with this person. You're like, damn, this person is a slob.
Yeah, that's why I paused for a
Right?
minute, because I was thinking about that, because that's one thing that is kind of, I guess it's like a scary thought too, right? Because it's like you think everything's so perfect and then you give each other that opportunity to move in.
Right. Or it's like, I cannot sleep with this person. They snore so loud. I can't, now all these like icks start coming out.
Right.
And you're like, I can't do this. Right. So like with living together at the parents' house in the beginning of the relationship, save the stress of all that in the future. Right. Now, after like a year of dating and you do all that stuff, now you're almost like a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
How much harder is it to break up with the person and things, and you try to make things work and all that, and like now it's just kind of like you got yourself in a deep hole.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like there's pros and cons to that, because the pros are that they can filter things out in the beginning. Back in the days, right? Our parents, they would jump into things also.
Yeah.
Actually, no, they would actually wait, right? They would live with their families and then they wouldn't move in and stuff until they got married.
I guess so.
Right. And then when that happens, you're already married, you're so committed and deep into your relationship, and you find out all these things. It's kind of like, well, you're stuck now,
Yeah, all the baggage comes out.
Yeah.
Right? So here's what I recommend. And obviously this time is different from the past, but you have to adjust as things happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I recommend is, if my son or daughter said, hey, I want to move in with my girlfriend and get a place, I'd be like, son, I think that's a great idea. But first, do you know how she would be if you were to live together? He's going to be like, yeah, I love her so much. She's great, right? Like, this will be the best. She's going to cook for me and we're going to do laundry together, whatever, right? I would recommend, hey, you know what? Let's do this. I will book you guys an Airbnb for the weekend or for the week and go live with each other for a week and tell me how that's going to be. You know what I mean? I'll pay for it. I want you to experience that and see if you guys can live with each other for a week before committing to a 1-year rental agreement.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a good idea, but it's barely gonna scratch the surface, because when you go on vacation versus living at home, it's pretty different.
Yeah, I know. The first
Right?
month is
I'm like,
you're so happy with being independent your first month.
Yeah, because when you're on vacation, like, it's not your own place, so it's like the way that you do things is gonna be different. But when you're actually living somewhere together, like, there's all these added stressors. Like, that's actually the reality of things. So like when you see those reality shows, right, where the couples barely meet and then they have like a week where they're on a trip and they are living together to see how they deal with each other,
Right.
like, yes, it's pretty it can be pretty accurate, but at the same time it's like a false reality because you're on this honeymoon trip, and when you get back home it's going to be completely different.
Do you think a trip is better than an Airbnb? Because it's Airbnb, right? Like you're packing light, you're going back home. But let's say like, hey, you guys go to Paris together and she's got to pack heavy. And now when you're staying in the hotel and you're traveling everywhere, that might actually set in more because in the hotel, it's you don't care about the hotel, right? You're like there's clothes everywhere and things like that. It's like how now you can see how well does this person take care of the hotel.
True. I mean, I think like just hearing about all of this too, it might be like a good start to. So I think it depends on the person that they're dating, right? And if you feel like they're competent or responsible enough, and then maybe it's like allowing them in the beginning to like stay over and see how their like natural tendencies are and to see how clean they are and how responsible they are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, to see how if they're willing to help clean around the house, how they take care of the room that that the kids are staying in, and just to see like their mannerisms. I think that's a big thing. So it's like us trying to filter out the people to see when they would be ready.
Yeah.
So I think every situation is going to be different. Like we can say that we're going to do something now, but I think depending on each person that they're dating, they'll have a better idea.
If you just let your kids move in with their partner and sign a 1 year rental agreement, you will find out a lot because now they're sharing the financial part where it's like it's not just rent. It's like they gotta buy a couch together, they gotta buy a bed together, and all that
True.
stuff. Right?
Yeah.
Now, let's say it doesn't work out, and after some time they get into a new relationship. Now they're gonna think twice about moving in with someone and having to go through those finances of like buying a couch again and stuff like that.
True.
So I think, it's you just probably have to try it out and live and experience it and, live through the mistakes the first time.
Maybe. I don't know. I really don't know. I feel like the way that I was with relationships, I just jumped in too quickly. So just thinking back, I would probably, just from a girl's perspective, like I would want to keep our daughter at home for as long as I can and try to teach her to be more independent and to be more smarter about the guys that she dates.
When you were younger, did you ever think about having a dream home? You get married and you have a dream home, like those thoughts.
I had those thoughts.
Okay, so now, how come? I feel like every girl has that, right? The dream wedding, the dream house, right, and the dream idea of a family. So how come when it's the beginning of the relationship and you guys move in, you're not thinking about like, I want a new bed. Why am I staying in this guy's bed? I want my own bed that I can, do, or like I want to decorate a house. Why am I like in this cramped room and all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, girls and I mean people in general should be thinking like that, but I feel like everyone just gets so caught up in the moment, and because our parents didn't tell us these things, these weren't conversations that were had. So even though you thought about these growing up as a kid, when reality sets in and you're in a like current situation, like you're not thinking about the long term.
Yeah, I feel like our parents never taught us to dream big. So for example, if you are staying with me and my parents in our house, we're just in a room, a little, 8x10 room, 10x11 room, whatever it is. And that's all we do is stay in the room all day, all night.
Yeah.
Right. But it's like if our parents told us, what are you guys doing? You're staying in this box for how many months? Why don't you guys go dream big, get something, go decorate a house together, stuff like that.
Because that's too early. It depends.
Because we don't have any money. I get it. We're young and we don't have money.
Yeah, kids stay at the parents' house because they are comfortable.
But this is what I'm trying to tell you guys. If you don't have money, then do not rush in to having your partner move in with you. Just wait till you can do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Wait
until you're more financially responsible,
right,
and more mature.
So it's tough because there's always so many things that we can say to the kids and our parents can tell us, but at the end the kids always say, well, what did you do? Did you do that? And it's like we got to tell them.
Yes, we did.
Yes, yeah, we can lie about it, right? Yeah,
they'll never. I mean,
we never moved in together till we got married, which is true. Oh no, we did. No, I'm sorry. You moved in with my family first.
Yeah. Yeah. If I could take it back, I would. And I would have waited.
I brought it up in our relationship, right? I was like, hey, you got to go back to your mom's house. What were your thoughts when I said that? Were you like, what? He doesn't like me?
I'm not sure. I can't remember. That was so long ago.
I remember you saying like you didn't really have a place to go because you haven't lived at home for a while. I was like, well, you're not staying here.
Yeah.
And then you did go back to your parents like half the week.
Yeah. I think I understood because you had stuff that you needed to do also. And
like I really didn't want to be with you all day. I wanted to grow myself at that time.
I really didn't want to be with you all day.
Like
I get what you're saying. I think you were nicer when you would say stuff in the beginning of the relationship.
So-
now you're just an ass.
what? No.
No, I mean like probably when you said it back then, I probably didn't take it personally because you were more careful with the way you said things.
So what I was trying to say is that as a guy, you are doing everything you can to do something great in this world.
Yeah.
And then when you meet the girl and she distracts you, your life stops.
Yeah. Oh no, I get
Right?
it. I completely understand what you're saying. I was just
Okay.
making fun of you because of the way that you said it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be with you all day. If you said that in the beginning of the relationship, I'd be like, all right then, like next.
Well, right now I can say that because I can skip all the things where I'm like, I love you and da da da.
You cannot skip all of that stuff. You gotta.
I don't
you
need
still
to
gotta
break
tell
it.
me.
No,
You
I don't
still
need to
gotta
break.
be saying I love you every day.
I don't need to break it in easy when we're talking about stuff now. It's just like we already know the givens.
But what?
The givens.
What is a givens?
The givens is like it's a given that I
Oh, a
love you. It's a given that there's nothing I'm gonna do to leave you. It's a given that this is gonna be like this forever. So let's throw that shit out the way.
But you
and I
can still
say-
still say stuff nicely. What was that last episode where you called me out to you like I feel like you forced me to marry you, and I'm like, excuse you.
No, I didn't say that, did I?
Yeah, you did.
I don't
Play
think
it
I
back.
said that.
Play it back, RJ.
Y'all got to cap it if I did say that, but I don't think
It's all over social media.
you
guys.
remember the things that don't matter.
Yeah. Anyway, this is what marriage looks like.
Okay,
You still
so what advice do you have to all the girls out there, and what advice do you have to couples?
my advice specifically to girls is to not jump into relationships so quickly. I would say to focus on yourself more. Try to be more independent and just try to figure out your own identity and yourself as a person, and just not rely on a guy so early on, and be more careful with who you choose in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my advice is to the girls out there, please ask the guys if they're ready for you to move in. Okay. And guys, say no because you're not ready. Okay. Take it from me. You know, you guys see me doing vlogs all the time, and you see how many different jobs I have, how much work I do, and my work ethic. And I got to tell you, like, it's like this because in my 20s, I blew all my money away by, taking care of other people and not myself. And so now I work so hard to get that money back.
Yeah. And I remember telling you all the time too, like when we'd go out and stuff, and you would always try to buy these things and pay for all these things. And I'm like, dude, relax. You're spending so much money. We could just stay in.
It's just the experiences that I want to share too. So it's like, I don't know. I remember there's one time I was in my 20s, and my dad asked me, he's like, how much money you got?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I got about like 100K. And he's like, that's it?
Oh,
And
wow.
to me, I was like, oh, fuck, that's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean that's it? And at the time, I didn't think anything of it. The conversation just moved to something else.
Yeah.
At this very moment now we're talking, and I'm thinking about what my dad said. I'm like, shit, that must mean when he was my age, when I had 100K, he probably had a lot more.
Probably.
And this is like, not even thinking about inflation and stuff.
And you're talking about having an immigrant parent too that
Exactly.
came to the US with nothing.
So,
Yeah.
Here's one thing for all you parents out there who have these type of discussions with your kids. You can't just stop there. they don't understand it. So you got to dig deeper into like, hey, how come you only have 100K? When I was your age, I had this much, and this is what I did. Put the fire in their ass to do more, and so they'll be better.
Yeah, you have to teach them constructive criticism and not so much of like, oh, that's all you have, and then stop there. Like,
right?
Why are you acting that way?
Yeah. But as a kid, I don't really want to talk to my parents that much.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to, because it feels like with Asian parents, it turns into nagging.
Yeah.
Right.
Everything feels like a lecture.
But now, as we are, first generation, and we know better, we're not more of nagging to our kids. We're more of teaching them the way.
Yeah, just talk to your kids.
Right. Like we know the most now. Like, I think we are one of the best generations to teach it forward, because we've seen the immigrant side.
Yeah.
And we've learned the American side, but we didn't do it right.
Yeah.
So now we can teach it right.
We're that middle ground of
We're the
being
fuck-ups.
a hard ass and also knowing when to be sensitive too, rather than just one or the other.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we all learned from our fuck ups that we can teach it properly.
True. I hope so. Another advice that I would give to everyone is make sure you love yourself first before you get into relationships, because a lot of the times I feel like I didn't love myself before I would jump into relationships, and you kind of can't love someone else the right way if you can't love yourself first.
Very true, because we had a lot of problems in our relationship in the beginning, and it was like, wait, where's this coming from? And it was because of you needed to figure out yourself first, and like we didn't get to that until after a long time, after being married, and then seeing a counselor or a therapist to figure out, yourself is the problem.
We never allowed ourselves to heal before we would go into the next relationship, and then that trauma gets carried into your current relationships, and it just makes it much harder.
Yeah. I got a little distracted because I hear the laundry just stop.
I know, me too.
I don't know if you guys could hear the laundry like melody, but if you did, I hope you enjoyed that. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And, for the young ones listening, please take it slow. Don't rush in. Kick that girl's ass out. I'm just kidding. Because we have like 80% females to listen to this. I'm kidding, ladies. But please just respect the guy and what he's trying to do with his life. And just, you guys need to have an open communication.
Yeah.
And don't overlook these things.
Yeah, and
it's
guys,
so important.
Sorry, I just talked over you. And guys, when you are communicating with girls, just remember to be more sensitive about things. And the news that you break to them, like this might be a hard topic for a girl to like take in, but if you do it in a way where you are considering their feelings, it might be scary, but it has to be done.
Yeah, we went from like giving brotherly and sister advice to like giving mom and dad advice.
But that's true. Like it's a little bit of both, because we've been there, and our kids are gonna go through that too. So it's like, damn.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Love and Rice Podcast. Make sure to review and rate our podcast on Spotify. Like, comment, subscribe, share these podcasts with people. Maybe instead of having a discussion with your partner, just send them this podcast episode.
Ooh.
That's a good one. Watch it together. When the person comes home from work, have it on in the bedroom and just watch it.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we've done the talking for you guys.
That's true.
I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure follow all of the podcast platforms, right? We're on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Google, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. Also
follow us on social media.
Yep. Watch the little clips, the highlights that we got from this on Instagram and TikTok. And we'll see you guys next time on the Love and Rice Podcast.
Bye-bye.
What the fuck?